Brian Williams, Mr. Olympics, 14 Olympic Games, Officer of the Order of Canada. You cover CFL football, of course, inducted in the 2010 CFL Football Hall of Fame. You cover thoroughbred racing, and of course, how fortunate are we that he also covers the sport of figure skating. Brian, welcome, and tell us a little bit about your history in covering our sport.
Ted, it's good to be with you. It's good to be in Ottawa. I wasn't covering figure skating in Sarajevo in 1984, but I saw Torvill and Dean skate. I was doing skiing, actually, and of course, then fast forward to Vancouver, we saw Virtue and Moyer equal or surpass that. I go back, I worked with so many great people. I worked with Toller Cranston, and Toller Cranston changed figure skating, brought artistry to it, and I can remember Chris Cuthbert, the play-by-play announcer at CBC, saying to Toller, who is your mentor? And Toller said, my dear boy, do you not know I'm an original? And Toller was an original. Elvis Stoico's an original. I was in Chiba Makurai, Japan, when he changed figure skating with athleticism. He made it more athletic. I remember when he won his first world championship, I was covering it. There's so many. I think of the great Kurt Browning, the charisma, the athleticism. I can remember I covered all 4 of his world championships. I'm in Paris in 1989, the year after the Calgary Olympics. And of course, I called him the cowboy from Caroline, Alberta. His dad was there with the big square belt buckle and the cowboy hat. Just great people. His father since passed away. 1988, I have great memories. In Calgary, Canada became the only country to host 2 Olympics. Montreal and Calgary not win a gold medal. That would change in Vancouver. The 2 silver medals both came from your sport. Liz Manley from right here in Ottawa in the women's, and of course the Battle of the Bryans. Boitano, Brian Orser winning the silver medal. I can remember Brian Orser's late mother pacing up and down the arena. She couldn't watch it. Katarina Witt winning the gold. On the 20th anniversary of Calgary, 2008, TSN did a great special. We went to Germany and did Katarina. She was in a nice show. We recreated at 3 o'clock in the morning in the Calgary Saddle Dome. Boitano, Brian came up from San Francisco, and Brian Orser and Brian Boitano recreated the Battle of the Bryans. I mean, there are just so many memories. Vancouver is special, of course, having seen Torvill and Dean, seeing what Virtue and Moyer did.
Hey, let's talk about this building right here, Brian. 1984 World Championship. So walk us through some of the great things that happened right here, the old Civic Center, now TD Place.
Well, I believe this will be, I'm pretty sure it's the 15th time, and it should be here, that Ottawa has hosted the Canadians. It's the 150th anniversary of our country. It was in this building. I watched on television. I didn't see it, but I remember Barbara Underhill, Paul Martini. They apparently couldn't hear their music for the last 30 seconds. The crowd's going nuts. They win gold. But the aforementioned Torvill and Dean, the first of 2 retirements, was after a performance of straight 6s in this building. But think of the people that have won here. Patrick Chan, if he wins, will equal Montgomery Wilson with 9 Canadian championships. Patrick has won here. Elvis has won here. Tracy Wilson and Rob McCall, the late Rob McCall, won here. I mean, I can go on and on. I remember prior to Sochi, all the great Canadian performances. There's a history here, and it's a history that this country should celebrate, because when it comes to sports on ice and snow, we are Canada.
Now, you cover many sports. I want to ask you, what do you find special about the sport of figure skating?
The first time I went to a world championship, I was struck by the athleticism. I was going to say violence. It's not violence, but the power. When you see a skater come down the ice at a high rate of speed, just imagine, and then plant that blade in the ice, and then fire yourself up to rotations in the sky, and then land on a thin little piece of steel. It is truly, truly amazing. And this is why we have David Pelche with the young Edmonton Oilers, the Barbara Underhill with the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is why you see figure skaters now working with hockey players to improve the players' skating, and it just speaks to the excellence and the athleticism of this sport.
And more hockey leagues are getting figure skating coaches involved. They realize the importance of these young skaters learning to skate before they come to the rink to play hockey. I think there's a good synergy for the 2 organizations to work together. It's been great both in hockey and figure skating history in our country.
Well, they are sports of ice, or on the ice. The Winter Olympics are the the games of ice and snow. That's why basketball, people say, why isn't basketball in the Winter Olympics? It's played in the winter because it's not played in ice or snow. Look, we're Canada. It's part of our DNA. Ice sports. We're standing or sitting next to the canal. As I came in from the airport yesterday, what do I see, or who do I see? But hundreds of people skating on the canal. That's to what this country's. It's part of the history, as I say, part of our DNA. That's why figure skating, hockey are so popular.
Well, Brian, we've worked together, I think, about 27 years, started in 1990 at the Halifax World Championships. I want to personally thank you for everything you've done for Canadian sport, but in particular for the sport of figure skating. You're a wonderful, incredible host for amateur sports, of course, and professional sports in Canada. It's been such a pleasure to know you and that you cover sports, and I understand another 4 years, we hope.
Well, a couple of years anyhow. I'm not as young as I used to be, but no, I enjoy doing big live events, Olympics, Grey Cups, figure skating, baseball, hockey, and I've worked with great people. I'm now working with Tracy Wilson. You mentioned the first time we met was in 1990 in Halifax. Tracy Wilson was doing her first television, and now here she is. I think she and Rod Black are dynamite. We have Sarah Orlesky. There's a real commitment with CTV TSN that goes back to the days of the great Johnny Esau. I mean, Bob Moyer, who recently passed away, there was a commitment at CBC. So I've worked with so many great people, and I'm the one that feels fortunate.
Well, it's been great to have you here. We're looking forward to your broadcast, of course, this week. The senior events coming from the TD Centre here in Ottawa. The great Brian Williams. Thank you, Brian, for taking the time to speak with us.